Hello friends, Ben Ochart here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am very happy to announce that I have completed the 210 custom tank from my friends over at Glass Cages here in Nashville, and it is stocked, and I'm just happy with the outcome, and I want to share it with you. Also very happy to be able to sit here and talk to you. For those of you who don't know what I'm referring to, check out the video. I'll put a link above as to what happened and why it was a bit difficult to sit and talk to all of you prior to this video. But I'm back, and I was able to transfer the fish, the African cichlids that I had in the 55-gallon. I was able to transfer them over to the 210 successfully after moving more filter media to provide the beneficial bacteria necessary to keep all the fish really as healthy as possible with no ammonia. And right now the tank is testing out with zero ammonia and zero nitrite, and a nitrate level of about 10 parts per million. So it's actually doing very, very well. This tank, of course, was a custom-made tank from, as I mentioned, Glass Cages. Custom because you notice it has a white frame. That white frame was a special order, and for some reason the order was never really completed. I saw the tank in the warehouse at Glass Cages, and you can see that video. I'll put a link for that video as well, my tour of Glass Cages. I saw it in the warehouse of Glass Cages. We worked out a deal, and here it is in my fish room. So the tank itself is being filtered by it's drilled and being filtered by a Synergy Shadow V2 overflow system, and that is going into a DIY, a do-it-yourself sump that I put together, and 2 socks and a wall of sponges and a Cichlids pump. It's an Italian-made pump. Very happy with it. It's pushing about 2,500 gallons an hour and is matched up very, very well with this overflow system. There's also a Fluval FX6 helping to keep the tank nice and pristine. The fish all seem to be getting along okay. There are, of course, a few chases like you would expect in any African cichlid tank. The fish that I had the most concern about was the Eureka Red, Jake, and he's just sort of settled in the back left side of the tank. Doesn't seem to be interested in bothering anybody, and interestingly enough, the tank boss is the Otopharynx tetrastigma, which I wouldn't have guessed. If you had told me who's going to be the tank boss, I would have said perhaps the Livingstoni, perhaps the Eureka Red Jake, or maybe even the Phoenix. But the Otopharynx tetrastigma seems to be the one that's calling the shots right now. And of course, anyone who keeps African cichlids knows that could change at any time. I do have more fish coming. Those fish will be put into one of my 55-gallon tanks and kept there for about 30 days of quarantine, and then moved into the tank as well. So I would say that the being heavily stocked has really been successful with the spreading out of aggression, and no fish is being extremely harassed. Even the small OB, the Skittles, the small OB, and the small bicolor 500, both of them seem to be doing okay. There's enough space and real estate for them to stay out of harm's way, and enough hiding places that break up the line of sight, primarily from the plants. You'll notice inside the tank there's some rocks from JC&P. There are also some plants from my friends at Elite Cichlids, and also some caves from my friends over at Underwater Galleries. I've kept the lights on here, the lights from JC&P. I had we went back and forth. I went back and forth with John over at JC&P. He educated me on the lights, and I no longer have the concerns about those lights that I had in the prior evaluation. And I'll release a video giving you more detail about why that is. But as of right now, I'm very happy with the very thin profile and the way these lights give me a tremendous amount of flexibility and customization by, with just the different features that the lights offer. So otherwise, you can see the substrate. The substrate is primarily aragonite. There is some Imaginarium from Petco, some black sand mixed in with the aragonite. There's also a little bit of white sand in the back right corner. Some of those sands were brought over from the 55-gallon to bring over some beneficial bacteria. So overall, I'm very happy with the tank. There is some color in there with plants. I asked for some plants from Elite Cichlids with some color in them. You can see them in the middle here, and otherwise the fish are very, very healthy, and you can see interacting, and they just love their new home. All the extra real estate. They went from a 55-gallon to a 210, so you can imagine how much better that would be, how much more space and how much better that would be to live in. And of course, all the water turnover with that sump, and it's just, I feel overall, a healthier environment for them. There's also a tremendous amount of water movement. I have a 3,500 gallon per hour wave maker that's helping to circulate the water, and it helps to suspend detritus so that it gets sucked into the sump and into the FX6. The FX6 does have a pre-filter on it, which is going to allow me to extend the amount of time between servicing, because the pre-filter will catch a lot of the bigger pieces. It'll also catch food that the fish can then eat off the filter, so it doesn't just go right into the FX6. There's also socks, filter socks on the sump, which I'm swapping out every week, and those socks are also helping to sort of pre-filter the sump, again allowing me to go for longer periods without having to service the entire setup. So there you have it. That's the 210 gallon, and I'm very happy with the outcome. Of course, I'll always be decorating and redecorating and changing things around. That's just how I am. I look at these tanks as a sort of a canvas that you're always creating and changing the painting and to fit your taste at the time. But certainly, if you have any suggestions, any comments about the tank, please share them below. I'd like to hear it. And I will be adding a sand diver, a Fusco, and a few other choice African cichlids from my friend and channel sponsor over at the Cichlid Shack, James Largo over at the Cichlid Shack. Visit the Shack. Be sure to use Shack Attack 10 for a 10% discount on any orders over 100. A big shout out to the Shack for the fish. A big shout out also, of course, to Glass Cages for the great deal they gave me on this tank and stand, and also to my friends at Elite Cichlids for the plants, Underwater Galleries for the caves, and also to JC&P for the lighting and rocks. This is really a joint venture, and I thank all the folks and sponsors who helped out in putting this tank together. So that's it for me, and of course you'll be seeing a lot more of this tank as I add new fish to it, and I'm excited. It's just going to get better and better. I also have a shipment of South American cichlids coming, including some redhead tapajos and chocolate cichlids and a couple other guys that'll go into the, ultimately after quarantine, we'll go into the 90-gallon. And I'm also, of course, still looking for a green tear. I'll probably end up getting some of them. Maybe I'll go to Imperial in Florida, pick up 3 of them, grow them out a little bit, and then keep the one that I like the most and give away the other 2. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to visit for the live streams. I hope to get the live streams going again this coming weekend. They are at 11 a.m. on Saturdays. That's 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. And that's the Cichlids and Coffee live stream. Great group of fish keepers. And we get into some good discussions in the chat. And it's just a lot of fun. So I'll talk more about this tank, the 90-gallon that I'm looking right at in front of me, the South American, and the other 2 tanks and things they have coming up in the future. We'll talk about that on Saturday. All right? See you next time, my friend. Bye-bye.